last rapid fire. Is I've talked about this before. I've talked about this before. And I wanted to revisit it, and maybe for those of you who have not seen us talk about Critical Role before, because it was quite a while ago. It was at the start of this. I may put it in here.
The adventure begins. They were always beside you, your nerdy best friends, and the DM to guide you. And they rise from the flames for the battles ahead. Villains beware, 'cause you're about to be dead. They got mad.
Depending on how long this goes and whether or not this goes on for a while. Because we love Critical Role. I didn't always love Critical Role. I was initially resistant to watching it, and I watched it in case I don't put it in. We did a birthday episode, and it's a thing that Jordan absolutely loves, so I watched it kind of for the first time. And initially, I tried to listen to it, and it really didn't do it for me. So I watched the video. Rewatched the live streams, and I love Critical Role. It's so much fun. It really taught me how to play D&D, and I know it's not like the best way to learn how to play D&D. Obviously, there's some house rules there, but yeah, like I watched a bunch more Critical Role, and in an attempt to also watch season 3 of the Legend of Vox Machina.
The future is frightening. It's a future which hasn't yet been written.
Vox Machina, your world will be destroyed.
This can't be happening. If we want to save it, we have to go to
Hell. Buckle the up. We shouldn't be here.
Won't be needing jackets?
To pull this off, we're gonna need all kinds of miracles.
What is that thing?
Hold them off as long as you can!
Vox Machina shall burn.
Which I had not watched yet. We're going to try to weave what I love about Critical Role and what I have to say about where I'm at in Critical Role right now with my thoughts on the season overall. My overall thoughts on Vox Machina, to recap, for those of you who have not been here to hear me talk about it before. I like that show. That show suffers from a lot of adaptational issues. It suffers from any issue that an adaptation runs into, which is that it is a supremely condensed version of a much longer form thing. In this case, a much longer form thing.
Ooh,
I would say even longer than a book adaptation or a comic book adaptation or a video game adaptation. Oh no, it's probably more comparable to a video game adaptation. But so a lot of times, moments which just pay off better in the show, in Critical Role, don't pay off as well as they do in Critical Role.
Because, in the original.
Yeah. Because you're right, because Jordan pointed this out, like, you get the actors' reactions to these moments as they're happening organically. So, like, last night, I just got to the bit on Critical Role where just again to recap, in season 2 of The Legend of Vox Machina, there's a whole bit where Grog has an evil sword. An evil sword called, Jordan, help me remember the name. I just watched it last night.
It's been a while.
Not Myth Carver.
Myth.
Not Myth.
I'm gonna.
What was it called? Anyway, Jordan will look up the name. But it's an evil sword, and it over the course of that season takes over Grog, and Grog goes full ape shit and nearly kills Pike, and it gets taken away from him, and he's now weakened. And they spend a number of episodes kind of dragging him around while he's depressed. And it all leads up to him fighting. I'm just at the point where they're about
Craven Edge.
Craven Edge, that was it. Where I'm just at the point where they're just about to go fight Kevdak on Critical Role. And so the Craven Edge is a sword that he picked up after, like, while looting in gameplay-wise, while killing the Briarwoods. And, like, gameplay-wise, it's a very good sword. Like, it's very good. And he has it over the course of, like, quite a number of 3-hour sessions, and it helps them kill many people, and it helps them solve many problems.
And Travis does become a little bit I don't want to say obsessed with it, but like the it taking him over thing in the show is kind of the representation of the he at certain points won't go to sleep in game because it allows him to keep like a ridiculous stat bonus.
Yeah, exactly.
Which Travis, the player, wants to keep going for as long as possible.
Exactly.
And so they have to try and find a, and that's an example of like how do you translate into a story? Yeah. How do you translate that?
He has to roll because he has exhaustion. So there's the moment where he rolls to I can't remember, to avoid some sort of detriment, and he rolls a 20, and Matt's like, it's fine, and then he realizes, he's like, oh shit, I have disadvantage from exhaustion, and he's like, oh no. And it's the thing I love about Travis as a player is he's honest. Like, it would have been so easy for him to be like,
whoops, I forgot.
Whoops, and then just move on. But it was like, no, I forgot, I'm going to re-roll it. And then he rolls a natural 1. And that's the moment, at least, that he passes out and he instantly dies. And they managed to bring him back to life. And he nearly kills Scanlan. And that's the moment they take the sword away from him. And that moment is really, like, narratively satisfying because it's been a while since they've introduced that sword. And, like, as a game, you're like, shit, yeah, that's gonna fuck it. And so then he gives him the paper with all the effects of the sword. And, like, yeah, how do you convey that? Or how do you convey a moment where, like, yeah, Scanlan rolls a nat 20 and he does this crazy move. It makes them look superhuman in the show. It makes it look like they could do all this crazy kind of stuff. And the show kind of so Jordan, when I was talking to him about season 3, he's like, it's going to be interesting because you haven't really seen it. And I said,
you haven't seen the original.
That's not fair because I've been watching Critical Role. So when I'm watching it, I can see where it's like, oh, like in season 3, my biggest criticism is that they just ram their way through all of the dragons, like within the span of like 3 episodes.
Which is a much longer, much more expanded
thing.
They
kill all 3 of the dragons within like the last 3 episodes. And yeah, you could tell in actual Critical Role this is a much longer thing. Or like, what's her face? Vax dying is way better in the original Critical Role because, again, it's the room, they're all joking around and then the room just goes silent. Like, the energy in their room changes and that impacts the scene. And yeah, there's a lot of like...
There's also there's stuff that... Which, again, I understand for the narrative of a show, you have to cut certain things.
Yeah.
And at the end of the season 3 of the show, there is a speech that Scanlan has in the original, like in the actual Critical Role, which just isn't there.
So that big speech, we won't spoil it because I'm not there yet. I don't want to spoil it for the audience. But that big speech you're referring to, that's after they beat the big dragon, last evil dragon.
Yeah, from what I recall, it's after they so after they defeat the big dragon, there are consequences within their party, and I'm trying to do this spoiler free, but things end up happening that don't go, because you asked me why certain things happened the other day, and I kind of remember a bit better now. But there are things that the party does which Scanlan doesn't appreciate. I'll put it that way, which leads to the speech. And no, the stuff doesn't happen really in the show at all.
Well, I know that the big thing they've cut it out of the show is that Scanlan becomes like they allude to it. In one of the songs he says where the such and such can create a bunch of spice. So I remember hearing a thing about him becoming a big old drug addict.
And a lot of it has to do with the way that Scanlan, or that not Scanlan, guy who plays Scanlan, Sam Riegel, is playing the character. And that's a thing that I both appreciate and don't appreciate with him as a player, is he absolutely commits to the bit. So whatever he decides the bit of his character is, he will commit to a fault, to the point where it gets irritating for me. So like in the gameplay, that and this is again, where I get why they cut certain things for the show. Because yeah, in the actual stuff, the stuff with the spice, I understand what he's going for, and I understand, and it comes back in campaign two with his character where she drinks, and that plays into that as well,
Interesting.
and into gameplay as well, where it's like he as he also like Travis will commit to a character to a point where it will at times be very detrimental to the party,
Yeah.
and he'll do it anyways,
Yeah. Yeah.
which like I appreciate as a performer,
Yeah. Yeah.
but in
Travis
terms of
will not metagame. Like he will
in
not. He
in terms of
refuses to metagame, and I appreciate it.
but see, that's where I question, and I'm an audio listener, so I don't watch it, so I don't see some of the stuff. But like there's times where with Sam Riegel in particular where I question whether or not he metagames, because I think he sometimes does in the opposite way,
He
where he will purposely fail certain things because it makes the narrative stronger in the opposite way.
I mean, I can't say where I'm at because I just got to episode 50. It's nice. It's nice. I actually remember. So like, I can't say as to whether or not that changes as of right now. Like sometimes there's moments where he's like one of those kind of players where he gets annoyed when people get fixated. He's like, okay, we can move on now, kind of players.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Travis
like,
is the same with shopping episodes.
yeah, I will say, there's a really cool moment. I like how Scanlan as a character, when it's time to be serious, he's serious. Like I enjoy those moments. So like there's the moment where he's like he's trying to give inspiration to Pike while she's trying to bring Grog back to life, basically. And he's like, he doesn't say anything flashy. He's just like, I just want her to know that we all love Grog and we want him to live, basically. And yeah, and I'm like, that's a really sweet moment. He didn't make it into a joke. He didn't try to like overtake it.
Mm.
He allows the moment to happen without undercutting it with a joke, which I really appreciate. So okay,
Yeah.
so here's my question. So that got away from the point, which is to say, like, when I'm watching that show, you're like, oh, you haven't seen this, so you don't. It's gonna be different. So yeah, we're gonna spoil season 3 of the show. I'm sorry if we haven't already. We're gonna now.
Yeah, my point was more that it won't bother you as much because you don't specifically know what's wrong.
Well, so okay, so but so here's what I will say to that. There's certain moments where I'm like, I know externally stuff about the show, about Critical Role, and I know what. So okay, so big spoiler: Percy gets killed by Doctor Avacus or whatever the fuck her name is. He gets shot in the face.
By the evil gun maker.
Yeah, she's basically Venom. She's Venom. It was driving me crazy the whole time. She's just Venom.
How do you mean?
She the Orthax is just a symbiote, and she's Eddie Brock. where the symbiote used to be.
I had never thought about it like that, but yeah, I guess kind of. Sure.
Yeah, the symbiote was with Percy originally, and then he betrayed it, and it went and joined up with what's her name? Dr. Adams, Dr. Scott.
I don't remember.
But yeah, he goes in and joins up with her, and they want revenge on him, and they talk as we. They're like we. It's totally Venom. That's funny.
You
really never made that connection? That is so funny. Yeah, it's just Venom. It was driving me crazy the whole time.
That's funny. No, I've never thought about that.
It's Venom. I'm
sure they probably have never thought about it that way either.
No, I'm sure they haven't either. But she shoots Percy, and Percy dies, and he's gone for till the last episode where they bring him back to life. And I know, to my basic knowledge of what I know of Critical Role, I'm not going to spoil it, but I know of 2 of them who switch characters, and the only one Ripley, that's what it was.
Anna Ripley.
Yeah, she shoots him in the stomach, I think, or the chest. But yeah, there's 2 of them I know switch characters, and I know that it's Liam O'Brien switches characters, and I know that why can I never remember his stupid name? Scanlan.
Liam doesn't until they do like a one shot, I think, and then. But no,
what's the actor's name?
Who? That plays which character?
Sam Riegel.
Sam Riegel?
Sam and Liam. I don't know. Again, don't give anything away. But I know that something happens to to Vax. That's all I'll say. And so that happens. The thing that happens to Vax happens right at the end of the campaign. So he's Vax for like most of the campaign.
Yeah, from what I recall.
Oh,
yeah.
interesting. Okay, because I knew that he's, and I know that that obviously, Sam
Like
Riegel
it's like
changes characters.
it's like a big deal in terms of players because like yeah, without getting into the details of it, there's a particular thing that Sam Riegel had been trying to accomplish that didn't work out, and it was like, yeah, he's crying at the table.
Um, um,
That's an example of where I say like if they do any version of that in the
I
show,
feel like they have
it won't
to.
be it won't be the same.
No,
it can't be the
it
same.
can't be the same. But I feel like they have to, right? It has to end
I
with
mean,
that
they
happening. 'Cause that's a big deal, right?
depends on how they do things.
I know it involves the big final bad, right? He does something involving the big final. Like,
yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Basically,
I don't wanna give it away,
it's a
but
yeah,
I
it's a
know,
game. It's a big game moment where Sam the player makes a hard choice, which makes a big impact. Is what I'll say.
So I knew that Sam Riegel changed characters. Like I know that Scanlan eventually. Sorry, spoiler alert. Scanlan eventually leaves. I knew that. So, but I hadn't heard that Taliesin, Marisha, Grog, Travis, and Vax. I had not heard that they changed characters, to my knowledge. No, I had not heard that. So
by the end of the campaign, every one of those characters has died at least once.
Yeah.
But they don't stay dead.
No, but yeah, like Grog just died basically, and they brought him back to life.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, like, narratively, like, none of them, there's not a permanent death, and Taliesin all of a sudden switches to, he's Percy until the end of that campaign. Like, I know that. And so, when he dies, I'm like, well, then obviously he's not going to stay permanently dead, but also, this is the kind of show that would do that, right? Just to fuck with you a little bit.
Well, it's hard to, and this is kind of a thing that this is kind of a thing that I enjoy about this show let me finish. Let me real quick. That's kind of the thing that I enjoy about this show is because it's diverged. It could be completely different.
And the other, well, I was gonna say the other bit that I assume is, again, spoiler alert for the end of the season, but they break up. The team breaks up at the end, and I assume that doesn't happen in the original show. The team doesn't, unless they do break up at the end.
I don't remember them breaking up like that. No.
Where they all go off to do, but you did mention something of a time skip, because it appears like the end of the next season is going to be.
Well, that's where my memory. It's been so long since I watched the original campaign. You're gonna have to remind me when you get to it, but I just remember that there's in some regard there.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm having such a good time.
In some regard there I think there is, well, where it's like it's a couple months or something, because there's a thing that ends up happening where they run into a thing which happens, and a thing happens, and then a thing has happened.
That makes
so
sense.
It's like
all of that makes
sense. It doesn't, but it does to me. And so because that thing happened, like, it's just I seem to remember it being a couple months, but I don't actually remember.
Because
that might be me conflating things.
Because like to my what I understand, there isn't another like. Okay, so
I just know that in terms of the Percy dying thing, from what I recall, it's one of those like. They fix the problem sooner.
Like
basically.
He doesn't like. Oh, so you're saying like Ripley does shoot him like dead in the original campaign?
From what I recall, yes, and I think they just like pretty immediately resurrect him like that.
Interesting.
And so like the big difference here is the length of time
that he stays dead, and how they bring him back to life. I assume is also different. So what is the
like from what I recall?
What's the major change that occurs in this season versus the show? Versus the original.
I mean, one of the big changes is the fact that Percy comes to life, like immediately in the actual thing.
The thing that tells you that
in this version, and then the other big thing. So this is again taxing my memory. If you don't care about spoilers,
well, I mean, try your best, but I mean, just try to be general.
Another character dies, and then actions that the players cause upsets one of them and causes him to fuck off.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, so is it stuff involving Kaylee?
It's stuff involving Scanlan and Kaylee.
Oh, so okay, yeah, that red is this feels like it's been changed because I know that he doesn't wind up with her in the original thing. Like that, I do know.
Well, kind of. It's hard to explain.
Or like
He
they,
doesn't
I've
he
seen the
doesn't
speech.
long
I've
he
seen the
doesn't
speech,
he
so-
doesn't long term, but he does. That's why he leaves.
Does Scanlan come? Like I know he leaves, but he doesn't come back, right? Once he's gone.
You know, he comes back.
Oh, he rejoins
He
the
comes
team.
he comes back. He rejoins the team later.
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. That I
And
didn't know.
that's what I was kind of hinting at is that's where I'm pretty sure there is a time skip because there's stuff involving him.
Interesting. Okay. Because like, okay, so far as I can ascertain or I can gather, the Critical Role campaign one kind of breaks down into what I would say, not counting the Tiberius Stormwind stuff prior to it, but it kind of breaks down into 3 major arcs: the Briarwoods, the Chroma Conclave, and then Vecna. Spoiler alert.
Oh, so you do know about Vecna?
Oh, I absolutely know about Vecna. Yeah.
Yes, he
I know about. They've already referenced him. They've referenced him in the show in Vox Machina and Craven. There, they heard the name when they defeated the.
Yeah,
Briarwoods.
my memory's a little fuzzy in terms of the actual thing.
But there isn't like another.
I wanna say that there was something in between the dragons and Vecna.
Interesting.
But I can't for sure. It's been too long. I'd have to go and look it up.
Does it play? The thing I'm curious about is, does it play out the same way where not Cree Summer, the dragon who is working with them and then turns out, oh yeah, big surprise, she's evil the whole time. Does that happen in the original?
So what I'll say from my memory is a lot of this show is, oh, there's X thing, like major thing that's the same, but little things that lead up to big thing are different.
Gotcha. So they're still doing that boss fight. So that is obviously a boss fight in the original show, and that they've.
I just know that, like, yeah, there's pretty much right from season 2, there's a lot of stuff that's different. Like obviously Pike.
Oh yeah, Pike
wasn't
is there.
there.
Yeah, she's there way more in the Critical Role.
A big thing
she
that's
just
different.
Came back in that,
a big thing that's different from that season to the original is the party doesn't get split.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So that's a right from go. That's a big thing that's different.
Yeah, they split up a lot.
And so as a result of the party being split, stuff in the story happens differently, right?
They also
so then that.
A lot of side characters that a big thing with I didn't feel it so much in seasons 1 and 2, and to be fair, with season 1 I hadn't really watched. To be fair, I rewatched it, but I didn't find it so much. But with this one, there's a lot of moments in this show which are like they feel unearned. Like they're like, oh, at this moment in the Critical Role, she had done this, but
it's been like 130 episodes, and they've spent a lot of time getting to this point. So like, and yeah,
a lot of stuff with Keyleth, where like, oh, she shows up at one point, she's trying to convince the Ashari to let her do the locating spell or whatever, or like stuff like Keyleth's abject hatred of this and distrust of this dragon. They set up way earlier in Critical Role and allow it to stew. And they also explain the dragon's backstory way better, of how like they cut out the bit where they explain that she infiltrated the Ashari and that's why the Ashari poisoned her.
There's also the other big difference of Keyleth's distrust of the dragon in the show versus in the original campaign is, and this is another point where I will say it's sometimes hard to reconcile between a D&D and a show, is a big reason why Keyleth didn't trust that dragon is because Marisha Ray didn't trust that dragon.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is very much the player knew things that the character did not. And so now when you're watching a story with just the character, it doesn't make sense because it was the player that had those issues and the character wouldn't really have as much of a reason to.
Right. Yeah, well,
and
also,
like when you're
trying
to adapt, it's it makes it tricky.
They also cut out a lot of the establishing, like you hear about her early on, like from other side
a lot of the
characters
seedings,
who get cut out, like, or like they cut out which in this case, like, I'm not faulting the show for cutting this out because it's a long section. Like when they go and they save the fire Ashari and they go into the whatever and they fight all the fire. They fight the fire genie and they introduce the fire Ashari chief as a character. And so in the show, again, she shows up and she's wearing those fire Ashari robes and she's like identifying herself as being attached to the fire Ashari, and she has the fire elemental transformation that she's using. But within the show, she can just kind of do that now. Like, it's not really established. It's a show that really benefits from you having watched it because, again, it's skipping over a lot of Grog in that show. Really, he loses a lot of the shit that makes that, or like stuff in Critical Role that just isn't. It looks cool when you animate it, but it's not as satisfying as watching him roll to fist fight Groon. Like when he fist fight Groon, that fight was epic. It went on forever, and it was epic watching him and Grog go back and forth in D&D. But when you're watching it in the show, it's like, this is cool, but it's not as cool.
It's a show where it's like, I kind of have to remove it from the original source material and kind of just watch it as its own thing, because it's like, it's an adaptation of that original thing, but it can never, and this is kind of a thing that I think I've kind of just come to this opinion as I've gotten older, is I think it's hard to do adaptions.
No, they're hard.
I think it's hard. I think it's hard to do, and so rarely are they done well.
I mean, this is don't get me wrong. This is a very good adaptation, and it's
for what it is.
It's very pretty. It's a stunningly animated show. There's times where I'm legit.
You can tell there's a lot of passion and a lot of energy that has gone into this.
Are being respected. I mean, to be fair, it's produced. They all produce it, and they're all involved in the creation of it on every conceivable level. So
I think for me, what I would say, my ultimate button nose when it comes to this show, and this would be my comment generally for this show is, if you're ever looking at Critical Role and you're feeling intimidated at watching 3 campaigns worth of content and 190 something, whatever, like if you're feeling intimidated by that, but you want to dip your toes into the world and the characters, this is a good way to dip your toes. This gives you a buttoned, watered down, like easy to palate version of it that you watch this and then you go watch the original.
It's a not as good version of the original, which feels like a mean thing to say because it's just a different thing than the original. Like,
it's a different medium.
It's not the same thing. So, but there's just a lot of these moments, and just if it's telling a story, like any story, the original. What'll be interesting to me. And this will be my final, and then we'll move on.
I'm interested for the next season and see where they go, like how this
obviously
because the way that they've ended it, from what I recall of how they ended this season, they ended on a fairly happy note where they're all still friends and buddies and stuff, and that if this is going into the Vecna arc is kind of different than how they end. So
first episode's going to be a getting the band back together thing. But no, the thing I am interested to see, because I suspect it will come out before I get to it, is the Mighty Nine show.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
That will be interesting because I will probably be watching that clean. That I will probably continue. I don't know. We'll see. I'll keep watching Critical Role for as long as I can keep my interest in it, and then I'm going to try to catch up. My friends are constantly hassling me to catch up.
Yeah, you need to catch up because there's a lot of stuff that I would like to talk to you about in Campaign 2.
I'm excited to get to Campaign.
Which, as much as I'm enjoying Campaign 3, I honestly think Campaign 2 is my favorite.
That's what a lot of people say. A lot of people say Campaign 2 is their favorite. I'm interested.
Campaign 3 is a real nostalgia trip, a real like who's who of, oh hey, there's that thing that I know from the other campaigns, but Campaign 2 has just got a lot of characters that I really like.
I said this last time, but I'm constantly impressed that they haven't ended it, that they haven't done a series finale on Critical Role and just gone to doing like one-shots that they can monetize for content, but otherwise not commit to a full campaign. Because isn't Campaign 3 just about to end? Like, are they like at the end practically?
I think they already ended it.
Did they already end it? Oh, interesting.
I think they've been doing one of those, like, you know how they had the in between one, which was like the prequel, which was the Cataclysm
Yeah.
and stuff. I think they're doing a version of that
Oh, interesting.
currently.
What I think they should do is, yeah, I think he should just go full bore, go back to campaign 1, and go back to maybe not necessarily the characters, but like go back to that world. I think that would be fun.
Well, I mean, I know that
I
I think it
also
was
though, that having been said,
I think it was Liam O'Brien who was like he'd like to do Exandria like I don't know if he said I think he said future, like a future
I
city
was
version.
literally just gonna say they should do a modern, like what Michael did when he did like
That
a
would be
modern.
that would be fun.
That would be so fun, and then yeah, you could have like the descendants of like Gilmore's glorious goods. Have Gilmore's like great grandson Gary.
I think I think
That'd
it
be
was
so
Liam who
fun.
said that he wanted a modern version of Exandria.
That would be fun.
I think,
that would be fun.
or like a future or whatever.
Years.
But yeah, I'm interested if they are moving on to a campaign 4 soon. I have no idea when that would be, but I'm interested to see what they would do. I need to finish campaign 3.
Yeah, it's a hard show it's a hard thing to invest in. But yeah, and it's really when you get into it, like when you're into a really like intensely emotional moment, you're like really like pulled into it, locked into it. You're like, yeah, this is really fun. Like this is like they're just all so good. Anyway, we've talked
I
about
will
Critical
say,
Role entirely too much.
as a
We need to move
person
on.
who only listens to it, I will say part of me is curious sometimes to watch it because there's times where they're reacting to models that
Yes.
I don't see.
Okay. This will wrap it up. This is what I will say. I started off trying to listen to it, and I just couldn't get into it because there's just too much talking, and there's too many people talk. Especially in the early ones, the audio's so bad. It's funny. I remember asking you when I first started. I was like, "Does the audio get better?" Because it was horrid, and you're like, "No, it does. It gets way more." And it has. It's gotten way better. I can actually listen to it now.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't. There was too many.
No, those
voices.
first early ones are bad.
There's like 6 or 7 of them. They're all talking over each other, and they're all
Yeah, they
it
were particularly bad back in those early days for the crosstalk.
Oh, the worst ones is when they laugh, and it's really like still now when they all laugh and it's really loud, and I have to turn down my volume. So like listening to it, I just couldn't get into it. When I started watching it was when I really got into it. Like that's when I was really enjoying, because there's just certain like the moment I mentioned where he rolls the 1, and they're all like he's making a face like oh no, and I can't remember who. I think it's Talisman. Talisman's like, you rolled a 1, didn't you? And he's just got this look on his face like, oh no. And as what's his face, as Matthew Mercer is describing him being dead, just this look on his face of like, what did I do? It's so funny. It's so funny. You would just miss that if you were listening.
What makes it funny though, to tie back into the show, to put a button nose on it, is because I only listen to it. Obviously, I guess when there's the video version of it, they sometimes have the fan art, which gives you an idea of what the characters were supposed to look like.
Valid point. Yeah.
Which I never had. Right? I only had the audio to listen to, and so for a lot of the characters, I have my own mental image, like especially in campaign 2 and stuff like that. I have my own mental image of what some of these characters look like. So when I then see them on the show and actually see them and what they look like,
that's funny.
It's so weird for me because it's like I have no visual frame of reference for a lot of these characters.
That's funny because I'm kind of completely the opposite. Where like I watched the show first. Jordan, we got to move on though. We got to move on. Hey there, everybody. It's N-Charge Justin here. Let me know down in the comments. Are you a fan of Critical Role or Vox Machina or both? You let me know. But in the meantime, if you'd like to see the full podcast of this video, it's front. You click the box on the left. That's our fantasy, and we also talked about Superman episode. Or if you would like to just see a random video that YouTube thinks you're going to enjoy, click the box on the right. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. We put new videos out every single day, 7 days a week, including a brand new podcast every single Sunday. Or you could just leave us a like. That helps us out too. We will see you all in the next video. Have a good day, everybody.